Hi everyone. Today I will be talking about the question that I've been asked so many times is which Nara paper to buy and what is my review about this paper. So, in my opinion, Nara paper is very good for alcohol ink art. And in fact, when I started working with alcohol inks, the first paper that I used was, of course, UPO paper. But it was so expensive that I could not afford to experiment, and then wiping it clean was also a problem, especially when you're a beginner, you're making a lot of mistakes and you're wasting so much expensive paper. So at that time I kept finding different surfaces to work on, and I came across Nara papers and immediately ordered some of it, and since then I have been using it every day I would say. But still, the question that is very important that everyone asks me during all the workshops is which Nara paper to buy. So let me just give you a brief about the paper, and we will do some testing, some wiping, and we will see what happens when we use different density of paper and which one should you buy. So the most important or the most purchased sizes of paper is the three sizes in circles, which I really love: the 6 inches, 8 inches and the 10 inches Nara papers. And then the most important other sizes that I use are this 9 by 12 size, which is slightly bigger than A4. So this is the one that I use a lot for my work, and this is a 12 by 12 size, which is also very useful for all the practice work. So these are the most popular small sizes, and then of course you have a lot of big sizes. Let me just get one. So this is an example of 15 by 20 size of Nara paper, and I make a lot of paintings on this size as well. This has been varnished, that's why it's shining so much. Now let me show you, just looking at the packages, you might not be able to understand how a painting on these sizes would look like. So let me just show you some samples of the paintings. So this is an example of a 6 inches circular painting. Both of these are examples of the 6 inches paper. Then the 8 inches paper looks this big, as big as my hand maybe. These are examples of the 8 inches paper. Then this is the 10 inches paper, which is now bigger than my hand. And of course the 12 inches circle is also extremely popular, which I don't have right now with me, but that is very popular size of Nara papers. And then this almost A4 like size 9 by 12 looks this big. And then the 12 by 12 is this big. So this is the size of papers that are very good for beginners, very easy to work on when you're starting out. So these are some of the sizes that I use on a very regular basis. Almost every day these are the sizes I work on. And if you're a beginner, I would recommend you try these sizes first. It is easier to start working on a smaller piece of paper and practice your techniques, and gradually move on to bigger sizes. Of course, after this there are a lot of sizes and you will get confused which ones to buy. You can get a bigger size and cut them into smaller if you like to, and if you find it convenient to cut. But if you're just starting out, I would recommend any of these sizes of Nara papers for you. So now comes the problem, next question that everyone asks is what is the difference between the different weights of Nara paper, which comes in 275 microns, 330 microns, 430 microns, and sometimes they are written in terms of GSM, grams. So a 275 microns is 200 GSM. This is 300 GSM and 400 GSM paper. So there's a lot of confusion which one to buy for what kind of techniques. I would recommend, if you're starting out and you're going to do a lot of alcoholic art, to get a Nara pad like this. It has different kind of sheets of different GSMs, so you can actually understand which works the best for you. So this is something that I would recommend if you're a beginner. Mostly when I work, I use the 275 microns paper for almost everything. But I have noticed that the beginners find it slightly difficult to work on this weight of paper because it warps a little bit when you provide it with a lot of heat. So I will do a demo of that as well, how it warps a little bit. In case you're a beginner, I would recommend a 330 micron paper more, because if you notice, I don't know how to show the difference between the papers. This is the thicker paper and this is the thinner paper. Of course, it won't be visible, but you can feel it by touching. And this is the thickest paper, which is very stiff. It's not turning at all. It's extremely stiff. So if you have the budget and if you're going to do professional work, you can definitely go for this thickest paper, because it remains straight quite a lot, and even with heat it will not warp. So, and if you're a beginner and you're not sure how to work with the dryer and your paper is warping, then you can go for the medium weight paper. This is also quite stiff and it's not bending, and with heat as well, this does not cause any problems. And then if you're making things that does not require a lot of heat, then you can go for 275 microns, which is the lowest GSM Nara papers. And of course, these days they are offering Nara journal with papers of your of the choice, your own choice. So you can go for different weights of paper in your Nara journal to test out what works for you and what doesn't. So now let's test. The first thing that we all want to see is whether it wipes clean or not. So this is a very old painting, and let's see how well it wipes. Let me just take out a paper towel, and this is Nara inks only, blue inks and brown ink, and this is isopropyl alcohol. So although this flower is really pretty and I like it, I am gonna try and wipe it to show you how it does. So I'm just pouring some alcohol . On top of it. Wow. So all the ink has been reactivated. If you have worked with gold, then you might have to scrub on it a little bit more. I usually leave the alcohol for a little time so that it can work and work on the ink and start to move it. And this is how I'm wiping it. So this is the first round of wiping, and as you can see that wherever there were some darker inks, there is a stain left. So it's not like completely gone, but there is some stain left. And let me try it again and put some more alcohol now on top of the first wipe. Leave it on for a while. I have noticed personally that colors with yellow undertones and indigo and dark blue colors and maybe some browns, they don't wipe so well. Although I have seen that pink, the Nara pink that I usually use gets wiped quite easily. Of course, if the intensity of color is less, it wipes better. But I know it is still much better than UPO paper, because UPO paper stains so much that you cannot reuse it at all after you make a mistake. You can wipe a little bit, but not so much. The shadows of the inks where your initial color was would still remain. So I think this is the best this is going to wipe. And if you notice clearly, there are some stains left, very fine lines. But still the paper is usable. If I have to work on it with more darker colors, I can simply reuse this paper without a worry, because all this will not be visible anymore. Do you see the faint shadow of the flower? So pretty. So although we say that it's stain proof and all, I don't think it is completely stain proof. There would be some stains left. And one more thing, that once you wipe the paper, it becomes somewhat activated. I don't know what the term is. And then when you use your alcohol and inks again on top of this paper, they spread and go out of control some more. So as you can see, the inks are spreading so much more than if the paper was new. And even the alcohol is spreading more than and it will go a little bit more out of your control than what you think will happen. So something happens after you wipe. It does not behave the same. The paper changes a little bit, which is not the case with, like, let's say ceramic tile. The paper remains exactly the same. I mean, the tile remains exactly the same. But still, I would say decent in terms of wiping and reusing. And I feel that the thicker papers wipe even better than the thinner papers. So now let's test about the warping situation. So this is the thinnest Nara paper circle that I have here. The what do you call, I also get confused all the time. This is 275 microns, 6 inches paper. So when I'm making a rose, let's say, or a flower in which my heat is concentrated at only one point, I will show you what happens. So I'm taking a drop of ink and alcohol. So I don't know if you can notice, look how much the paper has warped. It has become completely curved, and it's because I was able to control it. I have some amount of practice. I could keep the rose in a circle like this. But do you see the problem here? So in case you are going to use a hot tool on your Nara paper, you cannot use lowest GSM one, because you will face this problem. I also try to make it straightened while it is still hot, so that it becomes slightly better. But of course the paper has curved, if you can notice the difference. So yeah, so that's a bit of a problem for me when I'm working, because then the paper is curved. It becomes even more difficult to work more on it. For example, if I have to work on this side, it will become even more difficult, and the ink will keep coming down. And similarly, if you're a beginner, you will find it even more challenging to work on a paper that will curve. So just be careful about this if you're going to use heat. And this is a 600 watt tool. The one that I used is a 600 watt tool. So this is the problem with the thinnest GSM paper. Shall I wipe it? Okay, I will not wipe it. I will keep this to click a picture to show the amount of warping that has happened as compared to a flat paper. So if you're going to make roses or things in which there's a lot of heat applied to only one place for a longer amount of time, you can go for thicker GSM Nara papers. So this was my genuine, real review of Nara papers. They are wonderful to work with, there's no doubt about it. When you're working with alcohol inks, these are among some of the best papers available. So you can blindly buy them. There is nothing, anything wrong with the paper, but select the right one for the techniques that you are going to do. So if you are going to do simple techniques with low heat, you can go for any 275 micron paper. If you are going to use heat at a concentrated place, you can go for 330 microns. And if you're working professionally and you will be using a lot of paper and selling it, then I would recommend the 430 microns Nara paper. That works the best. And of course, then there is the black paper. And I completely forgot to talk about the hexagon paper. That is another shape, of course. And I completely forgot to talk about the hexagon paper, which I had suggested to them to launch, and this is a beautiful paper if you want to do something creative. And the pack comes with some white papers and some black papers, so you can experiment with different shape as well, and work done on the hexagon paper looks so pretty. So this is also another option of the paper size. I think that is all from me today. Hope my review of Nara papers was helpful and useful for you. And thank you so much. Please like, share and subscribe. Thank you so much.